Good morning, world. In our last segment, we talked about slavery and the impact it had, and reparations, and the need for repayment, the need for an apology to be offered by our federal government for slavery. And today I would like to get into what we can do to help heal. Okay, it's one thing to point fingers and blame others. I'm always a proponent of when you point one finger out, there are three fingers pointing back at you. So it's not a question, it's not a time to point fingers if you're going to heal. Yeah, we have to highlight the issues that need to be dealt with, but to blame someone may not necessarily be what we need at this point. Okay, what we need at this point is recognizing that there was an ill and correcting that ill. Okay, and some of the from slavery, as you saw yesterday, some of the ills started way back when, and those people are dead and gone, but we're left with the ashes, the aftermath of slavery. And so to blame really won't solve the problem, but more so, let's be proactive rather than reactive. Many years ago, I wrote to prominent newspapers in my area, and I also contacted television stations and radio stations, and very few responded. And when they did respond, they said, man, this isn't important. And what did I ask them to do? I would oftentimes pick up a newspaper, and still today you could pick up a newspaper, magazine, any other print, and when they're referring to ethnic groups, they oftentimes, and rightfully so, will capitalize the group that they're talking about, and they should, except when they're referring to black people. It's a lowercase b instead of capital B. And you may say, wow, I didn't realize it. Next time you see a prominent newspaper article that refers to ethnic groups, if they're mentioning more than one ethnic group in the same sentence, oftentimes you'll see the other ethnic groups capitalized and blacks are not. Now, let's go into a little English. I wasn't an English teacher. I taught social studies for many years, but from an English perspective, if black is the first word in the sentence and you're describing a color, it should be capitalized. But since you're talking about a color, okay, in the middle of the sentence, it should not be capitalized. But I was also taught in the English language that if you use a pronoun as a noun, it should be capitalized. So when you use the word black in describing an ethnic group, it's a pronoun, but you're using it as a noun, so it should be capitalized. Okay, so that's the English rule. Those are the English rules, okay, as far as that's concerned. But what impact is that having on people that are reading it, particularly our young people? I know who I am. I don't have a problem, okay, with who I am. I'm comfortable in my own skin. But what about that second grader, that third grader, or that 10th grader that sees different ethnic groups, whether it be Italian, Polish, whatever ethnic group they may be, okay? And all of a sudden, when they read about blacks, it's in a lowercase b. In the same sentence next to the Italian, the Pole, the German, whoever ethnic group they're talking about. And that may make that youngster feel less than, certainly unequal to. And so that's something very small that we could do to change the way we view the world, okay, by saying, okay, I know the rules, okay, and I'm going to apply them here across the board because it's only right, it's only fair, okay? Now, for many years, I know things have changed recently, but for many years, the good guy wore the white hat and the bad guy wore the black hat. Well, this is similar to that. This is what we call institutional racism. It sends a subliminal message underneath that people don't realize what is happening. And when you hear it and see it and read it over and over and over again, you start to believe that that black person, that line is less than. It also permeates others that feel that we are less than. So when they read it, the lowercase b, They say, yeah, see, the media thinks that they're not equal to us and we're not considered they're at their level. Okay, we're higher than there. And it continues to grow. So you have two types of divide here. You have divide to the left where the person should feel as though they are equal to and they don't. And then you feel that someone on the other side feels they're superior to another group because of that. Okay, these are just small things that can be used. Another issue that I have, particularly with the media, you'll hear the media report on a story, and that story has nothing to do with race, but they'll inject race. And oftentimes in media, they go by, if it bleeds, it leads. So the more gory, the more horrific a story is, the more papers it's going to sell, the more it will become what we want to hear. Okay, and so therefore they go with that. And so when they say a mugging, for instance, if they just reported a mugging, okay, on one hand, it may not sell as many papers. Well, what am I talking about? I'm simply saying that when they interject race in that mugging, they are selling more papers because this is what some people want to hear and this is what some people want to read. So if the person mugged someone because of his ethnicity or racial group, then you should report that person was mugged because of that racial group, because of that ethnicity. But if that person was mugged because of money, race had nothing to do with it. So when you report it, it shouldn't be reported that black guy mugged that white guy or that white guy mugged that black guy. Okay? The color of their skin had nothing to do with why that person was mugged. I'm not saying muggings are right. It is wrong. But if anything, if any color that mugging took place, it took place because of green, money, and not because of race. We have to get beyond a racial divide. And before we can get beyond a racial divide, each one of us, including myself, have to look from within. Okay? Because the way we see ourselves from inside looking out is oftentimes the way we're going to be seen by others. Now, what do I mean by that? If you automatically prejudge someone, if you just know that they are going to do something based on their skin color or their ethnicity, then you're not looking at that person from a trust standpoint. I know it may be difficult because what we don't know, we oftentimes fear. Sometimes it's ignorance, sometimes it's fear. But we should not look at every person as being a criminal because of his skin color. Now, I've been in situations where I felt that I was questioned because of my skin color. I'll give you a case in point. Here 2 weeks ago, I was walking in my development, and a neighbor in my community that lives on the other side of my community, when I was walking by her house, I happened to stop to admire this pine tree that for 3, 4, 5 years I thought was dead. It never ever had any leaves on it. It was always brown. Then this one particular morning as I'm walking through 2 weeks ago, I see that, wow, there's some green shoots on that. So I went over to the tree to take a better look because I didn't have my glasses on. Took a better look and I was looking up at the tree, and sure enough, in the meantime, there was a car parked at the stop sign facing the house. And it stayed there and didn't go. Wasn't any traffic. I didn't think of anything of it. And then when I was walking away, the lady stopped and says, "Why are you looking at my house?" And I said, "I wasn't looking at your house. I was looking at that tree because it was dead for 3, 4 years, and all of a sudden it's coming back to life." And then it dawned on me why she was questioning me. And so I went on to say to her, "Your house was a model house. It doesn't have a basement." And I told her things about the house that I had never been inside of her house since she lived there, that she didn't know that I knew. But once she discovered that I knew about her house and that I lived on the other side of our development, okay, she gave me an apology. And I just I got the feeling that she stopped me, questioned me, not stopped me. She questioned me because of the color of my skin. Maybe she didn't, but that's the feeling I got. So, I'll take it upon myself. Maybe it's me, okay, for feeling that way about her. That was the only time I've had an encounter with her. But I will say this, that is not the only time that I've been questioned, stopped by the police, or hear door clicks as I'm passing by cars, locking up the doors. And there's a lot of things that have happened that I know for a fact all of those things weren't because of a coincidence. Okay, those things happened because of my skin color. And it was clear. And I felt it, and they knew it. Okay? Well, that ends today's session. If you have any comments, please write them. Let me know. If you like, please share this with other people. Share this with your friends. Let them know. And let's start the conversation so we can heal our country. Have a blessed day.